Hello, my dear friends, and welcome. Welcome to our Saturday night, 10 o'clock, spiritual nightcap for the weary soul. Sounds like a big title, doesn't it? But how many of us struggle each day? Struggle with the day-to-day activities. Sometimes we can really let things get on top of us. And if we have a crisis looming on the horizon, by Jove, times such as these are a welcome blessing, or are they? I want to invite you to the next 30 minutes of just rediscovering who you truly are. Well, who are you? Who am I? Why am I here? Why are you here? Well, I'm here because I made a commitment to God to offer this time for my brothers and sisters around the world, for the children of God, of all faiths and none, who may be weary, hurting, and sense no one is there to pray for them. Like whom? The marginalized, the homeless, those on death row. There's one particular guy on death row that we've been supporting now for 3 years, and an outreach group who actually go in there to support the men and the women. And though I don't have the feel-good factor of actually seeing the person face to face, I have to trust. I have to trust my heart that what I do here, that God will use it to touch the lives of those who are really hurting. I have lit this light and I dedicate it to you. I dedicate it to each one of you who may be hurting or who may know someone who is hurting. So let us come to this table of love. Let us be still and let the Spirit of God reawaken within each one of us the I am presence of God. I'd like to begin by reading this beautiful Jewish prayer. And it's under the heading, God calls us home. The dust returns to the ground it came from, and the spirit returns to God who gave it. In Christianity, we have another lovely prayer. Let not your heart be troubled. Ye believe in God. Believe also in me. In my Father's house are many mansions. If it were not so, I would have told you. I go to prepare a place for you. And if I go and prepare a place for you, I will come again and receive you unto myself, that where I am, there ye may be also. Beautiful, isn't it? That the Son of God is waiting for us, that he's there for us, that he's with us right now, and he's knocking on your heart. What's he saying to you? What do you feel when you come into the presence of God? There are times I feel very insignificant and small at what my God has done for me. As I'm growing older now, I have every chance to look back on my life when I was a young nursing monk in Northern Ireland, in the thick of all the troubles there, where my life was in danger. And then, as a senior nurse in palliative care, and the privilege of supporting so many beautiful souls who were struggling with their diagnosis and who faced death. But one man touched me profoundly, and you may have heard me share this. He was a Franciscan priest in North Wales, and I was the nurse in charge on the surgical unit this winter's night. And having done the 10 o'clock drug round, it was soon lights out, about 10:30, for the patients to settle. It was quite a busy ward. And I could hear in the early hours, around 1 or 2 in the morning, when one of the nurses was on a break, you'd go around with a torch and you'd just do what we call a body check to make sure that patients were still with us, because between 3 and 4 in the morning, that's when the Earth's gravitational pull would take the most vulnerable. And I'd seen that over 38 years of nursing. That was the time when those who hadn't the resistance, they would actually succumb, their body would succumb, and they'd cross over. But this particular morning, I could hear sobbing, and it was dark, apart from the night lights down the ward. And when I investigated further, it was the Franciscan priest. He had cancer. His diagnosis wasn't very good. He was frightened. He was afraid. Nobody came to see him, which was sad. His Franciscan brothers were too busy. Yeah, that I found very hard to accept. But we drew the screens, and I pulled a chair up and sat beside him. And I know it's unmanly, but I held his hand. I asked his permission, could I hold his hand? And there was a mutual respect, because he knew that I was a nursing monk for a number of years. And I had a great love for this man. He was such a humble man and a deeply spiritual man of God. But he was crying. And when I asked him, he said, "Is there a God?" I was startled. I was absolutely shocked. Here's a man that left school at 16 and went on into the junior novitiate. He'd spent best part of 60 years of his life a Franciscan. And he asks me, "Is there a God?" And he was quite distressed. And it wasn't induced by opiates, because he wasn't on a morphine pump then. He was later on, when his pain became unbearable for him. And he couldn't stop crying. So I thought, right, get up on the bed and act as a pillow. And I just held him in my arms. And I said, "Well, if there isn't a God, there's one thing for sure, Patrick." And he said, "What's that?" I said, "There is a Saint Francis, otherwise you wouldn't be here. And he'll be at them pearly gates, and he'll say, 'Well done, you survived. You stood the test of time, and you didn't give in.'" And we both laughed. And then we had to pray together. And he realized there was a God. He was aware that God loved him, but he couldn't understand why he had to suffer this way, and being away from his community that he loved. So you see, the journey takes many twists and turns. And now at my time of life, I can look back on those wonderful memories. They're nuggets when I'm down and despondent, depressed or weary. And yes, I do get depressed. But the Spirit of God brings me back to lovely memories such as Patrick. That was a privilege. And then I had 5 nights off, having done 7 nights. And when I came back, I asked how Patrick was, and he died. And I felt sad, but I also felt relieved for him. But I guess I was selfish. I wanted to see him because he had such a profound impact on my life. And God brings people like Patrick into our life. They touch us in such a profound way. Yeah. Wherever you are, Patrick, I know you're a lot happier than you were on the male surgical unit that cold morning. And I know he's happy. Are you happy? Or are you battling with some inner turmoil? If you are, just name it, bless it, and release it. Because worry never paid a bill. Worry never climbed a hill. Worry only makes you ill. I used to say that to the patients on the cancer unit, and they all laughed. Let's be still now. Let's come to our heart. For the heart is a great teacher. And I want to share with you this lovely prayer. It's the prayer to the cosmic Christ, the healer. In the comfort of your love, I pour out to you, my brother Jesus, the memories that haunt me, the anxieties that perplex me, the fears that stifle me, the sickness that prevails upon me, and the frustration of the pain that weaves about within me. Lord, help me to see your peace in my turmoil, your compassion in my sorrow, your forgiveness in my weakness, and your love in my need. Touch me, O Christ, with your healing power and with your strength, so that I may return to you, a child of God, whole, perfect, and complete. That prayer says it for me. It offers me hope. In my darkest hours, that prayer brings me hope. I pray it does you. So let us just come into the presence of love, and let us experience that love. And I'm reading some reflections now from the Eucharistic Adoration booklet, Reflections in the Franciscan Tradition by the Franciscan Sisters of Perpetual Adoration in America. I bought this book on Amazon last year, and it really is a beautiful little booklet for times of solitude and silence with the Lord. We too, with our own eyes, see only bread and wine, but we must see further and firmly believe that this is his most holy body and blood, living and true. One of the primary Franciscan traditions is to acknowledge the presence of Jesus in our lives. Both Francis and Clare built their lives around this idea. According to the first admonition of Saint Francis, the gift Jesus gave us in the Eucharist is the opportunity to expand the work of the kingdom of God to everyone. When we participate in the practice of perpetual adoration, we put ourselves in direct contact with God, with the presence of God and God's mission. Our action as adorers pales in the face of God's action of infusing us with the Spirit of the divine being. We are changed dramatically just by being in the living presence and by being open to the action of our gracious God. We become instruments of God's peace, mercy, joy, consolation, or courage. The more we celebrate the small miracles of daily life, the more we realize the very personal action of God in our daily living. The presence of Jesus among us is just that, a widespread presence among all of God's people. We are able to embed the wonders of the presence of God within each one of us. Each of us can and must be the Jesus presence in this world of ours, especially today, where so many have lost their way through materialism and fear. And now we contemplate, most loving and considerate Jesus, I thank you for the trust you put in me as you give me the mission to help spread your fragrance everywhere. Help me to recognize your action in my life and to follow your promptings as life unfolds around me. I know that your power will be with me and that your love will shine through me if I allow you to act. I thank you for all the gifts that you have given to me. I thank you for delighting that you made me. And I thank you for all those you will send to me this night. Amen. Recognize God's action in your everyday life experiences, in your evening examination of the day. Include a listing of the unusual actions of God. Rejoice in the surprises God sends your way. Like Patrick, when I look back, that was an amazing God surprise for me, because I was going through a difficult time at the time in my faith journey, and God uses this Franciscan priest, an elderly man, frightened of dying, and who wasn't sure if God existed. That was a God surprise. Now let us be still. Let us feel the loving arms of the Christ enfold us. We may be resting on our bed, we may be sat in our chair in the lounge, or we may be sat on our patio overlooking our garden, where Molly is busy playing and Toby is busy singing, and our 3 little dogs are snoring. Let us feel the love that Jesus offers to you and me when we surrender our heart to his love. And as we relax now, we ask Jesus, the physician of our soul, to wrap his arms around us, not to say anything, but to just hold us, as a mom holds her newborn babe to her breast. Feel the love, the power, the inner strength flowing through the arms of Jesus around us. His heart is touching our heart. We can hear it beating through the vibration of our body and his. It's like having a heat wave thrown at you where there's so much love. And the moment he places his arms around us, it's like as if we're locked in a love triangle. We can't escape it because he won't let us, because his love is so pure. He's holding on to us because we need to hear in our hearts. We need to feel in our hearts. We need to sense in our mind, in our body, in our soul, that we are loved. That we are loved by a presence who has a name. His name is Jesus, the barefoot Galilean, the Son of God. And in that grip, being held in his arms, everything is melting away into insignificance. The tension, the tiredness, the worry, the fears, our past, our mistakes, the wrong turns we've taken in our life, our judgmental attitudes and unforgiveness, all dissipating into the ocean of his love. And up through our feet, Mother Earth is releasing the love of sacred earth. And her love is flowing up through every part of us. And it connects with the love of Jesus in our heart. And we're melting into love. We are being molded in the image and in the likeness of love divine. We are becoming the beating heart of a cosmic God who loves us. We are a child of God. We are loved. And the love of Jesus is empowering us to take back our power from our past mistakes, from our wrongdoings, our wrong choices, from people we got involved with, from people who hurt us, deeply hurt us, from those who deceived us, and those whom we were angry with. All that is melting and dissipating, and we are free. We are now free. We are free. We are free. And he calls us by name to come, to follow him. Not to become a religious nutcase, not to become a fundamentalist or a bigot, but to become a child of love and do the mundane, ordinary things extraordinarily well. To surrender our heartbeat to God, to surrender our thoughts, our lives to God, and to do it out of love, not fear. Be aware that you are loved. You are the beating heart of Christ. You are his hands and feet in this modern crazy world. He needs you. He needs you to befriend those who are hurting. Maybe not to go up to them in person, but to hold them in your prayer time, to hold them and care for them. As Jesus is doing now for you. He's holding you, and he ain't letting you go because you're his. He has waited for this moment, and he's not giving up. We might kick, we might shout and scream, but he's not letting us go because he loves us. He loves our tantrums, but he won't play with them. Listen to his voice now. He has something to share with you for this day, the last day of January. I am your strength and shield. I am your strength and your shield. Whenever you feel afraid, remember that I am your shield. I am your beating heart because I called you by name. You are mine. You are mine. You are mine. Listen to these words from a great friend, Tim Wheater, a Jesuit priest, now in Buenos Aires. It's like the words of Jesus singing to your heart.
I have dreamt so long that we would meet again. I never doubted you, I knew you would return. I have longed to seize a moment you would come to me, through an open door, bearing all the love we've known. Oh, I trusted you, I loved you so, I hoped in you, I knew you would come home. And oh, I believed you were here, sometimes my heart could see you. Oh, I believed in you, somehow could sense you near me. I have longed to say so many things to comfort you, to hold you safe and welcome in my arms. In the long and silent moment when the stars appear, to speak the love which keeps you from all harm, and gathers you and holds you still, guarding you from fear, while the loneliness and darkness disappears. I have called in my heart for you, searching this lonely time, wanting to tell you that even in darkness our love has flown. And oh, I believed you were here. Sometimes my heart could see you. Oh, I believed in you, somehow could sense you near me. I trusted you, I loved you so. I hoped in you, I knew you would come home. I trusted you, I knew you would come home.
Thank you, dear friends, for joining me. I look forward to your company again soon. Take care and God bless. Look after yourself. And remember this: there is no greater love. There is no greater love than to be in love and to be loved by the cosmic Christ. And all it takes is the word yes. I am here, Lord. I am here. The peace and the healing touch of God be with you at this hour, and know that you are loved. Peace.